Hello, and welcome back to the Hovis Huddle podcast. Today is episode 2 of our multi-part series, where you get to come along and see what it's like to hand-select a fantastic vendor to help you get all those RSVPs for your T65 seminar. Today we have with us Madison Moore.
Hi.
And we also have Miranda Hamilton from Leading Response.
Hello.
All right. Well, guys, I'm very excited about this episode, and I was joking with Madison here about, I think a lot of the internet and social media has created, non-creepy voyeurs of people. They want to be able to watch things happen and participate later, and so find yourself a healthy corner to watch as we get to. I shouldn't have said that. Was a terrible joke. No, you get a chance to be on the fly on the wall for a conversation where an agent has now taken the next step with deciding to work with Leading Response as her vendor to get a seminar off the ground. And Miranda is going to take us through that part of the process. So last time it was just all about what Leading Response does and their value proposition, and now it is the next step. So from there, Miranda, I sincerely apologize for my off-color jokes, but I'll let you take it away from there.
That's a-okay. All right, awesome. Well, I appreciate it. I am just gonna pull up a spreadsheet that I was working on a minute ago to show you some recommended venues. I'll also show you counts too, so we can see the number of prospects available within a radius of the event location. So anytime I'm working with an agent, or especially new agents, I love looking at our historical data and seeing which venues have proven to work well in the past in their area. That way, it takes out the guessing game. You're not taking a shot in the dark. We can look at our historical data and verify which events have proven to yield the 40 to 60 RSVPs that we expect to see. That way, the agent can feel comfortable and confident in the venue that they choose. And I've worked for other lead vendors before in my tenure. I've been doing this for about 11 years now. And Leading Response is the only vendor that I've worked with that is so analytical with their data, and they keep track of this. So I love doing this because so many agents aren't sure where to host their events. So what I did was I looked at your office zip code in St. Louis, and I looked there plus surroundings. So anytime I put a zip in our system, it will show venues or events hosted in that particular zip code plus surrounding. So I did find these two. These two really stood out to me. I think I mentioned it before that Golden Corral does fantastic nationwide. Like every time someone hosts at a Golden Corral, I feel confident that the rooms are going to get filled. So, of course, Golden Corral in St. Louis popped up, and then also the Pasta House did as well. So these are two great venues that I would consider hosting at. Of course, you don't have to go with our recommendations. You can choose another venue if you'd like. You just want to make sure that they have a private or semi-private room. And then, of course, you just want to keep that cost in the $10 to $15 per plate range. So just something to consider. But I always like to show you guys what's out there, what's worked. That way you can feel comfortable in the venue that you choose. So the Golden Corral did awesome, and so did the Pasta House.
Yeah. So, Madison as the agent, what do you think? Are you Golden Corral or are you?
I'm more of a pasta person myself, but I can get down with Golden Corral.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miranda, in your heart of hearts, which one would you choose?
Golden Corral has really never let me down. The Pasta House did really well too. So I think I would prioritize Golden Corral. Or, for example, you put 2 events on the invitation and you do one at each location and then kind of gauge from there too.
Well, you know what? This is your show. You want to do one of each?
Why not?
All right. So we'll do one of each.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll make it a buffet itself, a buffet of locations.
Yeah, there you go. Smorgasbord. So what you'll want to do is reach out to the venues to secure your date and time. So that'll be on your to-do list as the agent. So you'll just reach out to them, let them know what dates you're thinking. We work in about 5 to 6 weeks lead time. So most of the agents that I'm working with right now are hosting events mid-May or later. So just keep that in mind. Another thing is to schedule them within at least 2 weeks of each other. So a lot of agents will do two in 1 week, or they'll do one week, and then the second event that following week. And it's important to keep them within 2 weeks of each other, just because these invitations are going to start hitting homes. Like, say your event is that third week in May, these invites are going to start hitting homes the second week of May. So if you have an event like in June, for example, these invitations are hitting homes, a month before that second event. So keeping them close together keeps it fresh on the mind and would fill both rooms.
And we talked about Tuesdays and Thursdays. If we're, so up to you if you want to do it the same week. I kind of a fan of the idea of doing it the same week, because then it's kind of like the run up is there, you knock it out, and then
Yeah.
but if you were to do it on separate weeks, would you recommend 1 week be a Tuesday and 1 week be a Thursday, Miranda?
Yeah, that's a great idea. That way, if somebody's got like prior obligations every Tuesday, that Thursday option just kind of leave more opportunity.
Okay. Well, and of course, some of this will depend on event or location availability, right? So,
Yeah.
so then we'll go ahead and hammer that out and return that information to you, Miranda, so that when we're ready to move forward, we'll already have had those selected. And you said 6 o'clock would be a good time usually.
Yes, that's right. 6 o'clock or 6:30. Anything earlier than that, people are still kind of getting off work or starting their evening. So 6 o'clock or 6:30 start time.
Okay.
And then one thing also that I wanted to mention is typically the reservation that you have with the restaurant will be for about an hour and a half. So you want to spend the first 30 to 40 or so minutes doing your presentation, and then you'll work with the server to make sure that they deliver the food once their presentation is done. And then kind of while they're eating, you can do permission to contacts, answer any questions. And so just if you line it up with the presentation first and then eating, there's less distraction and you have their attention in the beginning.
Yeah, same thing with insurance seminars for agents. Try not to let them eat until we're done with the meat and potatoes of the presentation, right?
Yep, that's right. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I ran some counts within a radius of the Golsta House address that I chose. They're on the same street, so they're going to have the same prospects available within, the radius. So I've been seeing a huge trend lately of agents wanting to do 64 and a half to 68 to capture late retirees and people coming off a group plan. So I went ahead and ran two counts for you. So turning 65, you can see that the date of birth range that I chose was July through December. So those turning 65 in July through December of this year, and within a 10-mile radius of the Golden Corral, which is pretty standard. And so we were able to reach 3,200 people turning 65 within that radius, which is a great number.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yep. So you can see the different zip codes that we'll mail to. And during the order process, we'll send this to you. That way you can see exactly what zip codes we're mailing. You can pick and choose if you want. You can choose which ones, we eliminate once we cap this at 3,000. You can choose where we remove the 286 extra from. So just something that you'll have approval on and eyes on before we get it out the door.
Perfect.
And this is for all income, all dwelling types. But within our data company in the system, there's so many selections. I always joke that you could like narrow it down to someone's favorite color. And I don't even know if that's a joke. I haven't actually tried it yet, but that just shows how particular you can get within the data company. But other selections that are commonly used are like income and dwelling type. So we can adjust this, however, as you get going and maybe you realize you want to eliminate or add certain incomes or dwelling types, whatever, we can make those adjustments.
Perfect.
So plenty of records available there. And then I wanted to show you the 64 and a half to 68. One good thing about mailing an age range versus turning 65 is we don't have to mail as far, although people will drive 10 miles to learn about Medicare and, have dinner. So that's no worries at all. But 64 and a half to 68 allows us to decrease that radius to about 3.5 miles. So less zip codes because we're mailing closer. but you can see here that there's plenty available there as well. So if you guys ever want to move into that market, we can absolutely do that easily. Okay. Any questions about those counts?
No, I mean, I think that all makes pretty clear sense.
Awesome. So just wanted to show you some invitations. This is our turning 65 invite. It says happy early birthday. So this would be mailed to people, which by the way, we can adjust that date of birth range any way you'd like, but this will be mailed to people looking at that count I just showed you. Turning 65 in July through December. We'll update it with your logo if you'd like, and the date, time, and location of the event, and the venue logo as well. We feel like that's important to put on there. And then we'll also include Madison's name and license number right here in the disclaimer. All of our invitations follow CMS guidelines. Every time they release a new guideline, we have a team of people who read through that very thoroughly and make any adjustments needed. So this follows that. So using Turning 65, this is a great invite. It pulls the 40 to 60 RSVPs every time. And then I wanted to show you this one. This is our coming off a group plan invitation. So this one is more of a Medicare 101 message that is sent to people ages 64 and a half to 68. So we'll update this one as well with your date, time, and location. But I really like the part up here where it says, if you are new to Medicare or coming off a group plan, this class is for you. So 64 to 68, this is a message that I would suggest using.
Yeah, I tend to like that. Even I mean, of course T65 is fantastic, but so many people are asking about the group stuff all the time. So I definitely like how that catches a wider berth. Really, it's kind of both in one. So
absolutely, yeah. And you can even do Turning 65 using this message. You don't have to do a range. So whatever you prefer, we can absolutely do that.
Decisions, Madison. Pick your poison.
So if you're ready, I would love to take you into Hub and kind of show you what that looks like.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I just wanted to take you into Hub. This is for an agent that I'm working with in Oklahoma, and just wanted to show you exactly what this looks like, how to use it, how to get the most out of the system. This is our event management system that you'll be able to access and view all of your reservations, any event you've had with us. All the data that we get on these people will be in here as well. And also statistics on how your event performs. That way you can feel comfortable and confident and educated whenever you go to make your next event and do your next campaign. And you can also export from this system as well. So when you first log into Hub, this is your event page. This is the home page. This is what you'll see when you first log in. So these bolded dates, those are the dates that they're hosting events. So I'm going to select April 14th, next Tuesday. Okay. So here is just at a glance, you're able to see where these prospects are coming from in correlation to your event. So this white indicator, that's where the event is being held. That's the venue at Ted's. And then all the green indications are where people are coming from. This was mailed within a 10-mile radius. So as this event fills up, there will be green indicated all over. So just nice to see kind of at a glance which zip codes and what territories are most responsive. And that helps us kind of navigate your next campaign too, where we can look at this and say, okay, this zip code didn't really produce any. We can go ahead and remove that from the count. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down and show you the prospect list. So we've selected April 14th, next Tuesday, and then all the prospects that are registered are included in this breakdown. Every invitation includes an option to bring an age-appropriate guest. A lot of times that's spouses, or in this case down here, a friend is coming. But in most cases, it's spouses, and they're usually also within that age range, turning 65, about to, or just beyond. So they can bring a spouse. So you as the agent, you'll want to make confirmation calls 24 to 48 hours before the event. We take the reservations for you. We send a reminder text or email as well before the event, but as the agent, making that personal touch and that connection ahead of time will help the show rate, and you get to introduce yourself too. They feel special. Wow, the host called me. That's awesome. So if you reach out to them ahead of the event, it just serves as one additional touch. And another part that I didn't mention is, and I've been advising agents on this lately, and I hear my coworkers say it too, is as you're getting these reservations, call them within 72 hours and thank them for reserving. And then, 2 weeks later, you do your confirmation calls. So by doing a thank you for reserving call within 72 hours and then another call before the event, you're doing two more touches in addition to the mailer that went out. So it's kind of like a three-touch system. So every time you talk to them, it should just only increase your show rate. It doesn't hurt. And they eat it up too. They love hearing from the host. So as you're making these calls, you'll log into Hub and you'll call Jeffrey and you get him on the phone and you can change his confirmation status. So you can change him to confirmed, left voicemail, canceled, whatever it may be. And the reason I say canceled is because once your event gets filled, so say for example at the pasta house there's a capacity of 30 people. Once that 31st person calls, our RSVP team doesn't just say sorry, click. They still capture that information and put them on a wait list. So that's why these confirmation calls are important, because you want to reach out to them and say someone does cancel but they're like, hey, I want to come to a future event. Perfect, you can mark that down. But then you'll start reaching out to people on the wait list and you'll say, good news, a spot just opened up. I'd love to have you. And so that way you keep the room filled and you're not leaving anything on the table. Okay. So I just want to give you a sneak peek into additional information that we get on these people. So during the call, we're collecting their first name, last name, phone number, email address. So you're going to have all their confirmation or their contact information right out the gate. But some records come through from our data company, come through like more robust and include more details. So for example, Jeffrey, he has a 9.5 data quality match, which tells me that our data company is very confident in this information provided. And this is a wealth of information. So it's a lot of data that we were able to capture on Jeffrey. So information like his age, that's going to come with every record, but other things like their income is 250,000 to 500,000. Let's see, net worth over 1.5 million. So the year he purchased his home. So this is just interesting information for you to have handy, especially if you sell other products like in the financial world or any ancillary products. You can kind of gauge before you even talk to Jeffrey, like, is he a good candidate for X, Y, and Z? So it kind of helps you take a peek behind the curtain and get to know them a little bit before you even talk to them and gauge what else he could potentially be qualified or eligible for or interested in even. So, for example, as you're doing your confirmation calls, say Jeff says, "Oh, I can't make it to Ted's, but do you have anything in May?" As you're making these calls, you can adjust them. So you can move him to another event if needed. You can take him off and move him to another one. By clicking these opt-ins, this is of course not the like Medicare permission to contact, but this is our own permission to contact to reach them via email, phone, or text. And he opted into all three. So that's awesome. If you call Jeff and he doesn't answer and you get his voicemail, you can send him a text or an email and know that you have permission to do so. And then his guest information is included down here at the bottom. And you can add another guest if he, requested that during the phone call. Okay. Any questions about this page?
Do you find that when agents first jump into Hub, that it's pretty intuitive for them? If as long as they're willing to just kind of look at the screen and poke through it, they can pretty
Yeah.
much well navigate it themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very user friendly, and we're in the process of making it even more so. We're still naming it, but it's been like called Hub 2.0 for right now. But our IT team has been dedicating so much time into making this an even better system we took a bunch of feedback from agents and found other ways to just make it even better. So that should be coming out in June. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, very easy.
Nice.
Okay. Click over on performance analysis. Like I said, we love data here, and it's a big part in what we do. It drives absolutely everything we do. So I want to show you at a glance some awesome data that we see in Hub that you're able to reference and help you feel educated in where you're hosting events, what time you're hosting your event, what message works best. So, for example, for this account, they have hosted only at a handful of events or locations. This will be nice, by the way, if you end up hosting at Pasta House and Golden Corral at the end of your event, we'll be able to come in here and really, at a glance, see these bar graphs of which venue ended up doing best. So when Kim, my client, comes in and she's like, I'm thinking about hosting another event. Let's take a look at the data and see which one has generated the most RSVPs over the last 6 or so months. She can come in and see that Bill's does best and then Ted's. And so she can kind of gauge, feel comfortable and confident in where she's hosting her next event. So this Medicare Made Easy headline, they've only ever used one mailer so far, so nothing to compare to right now. But say in the future, you're doing this turning 65 campaign and then we switch to the 64 and a half to 68, then we can capture data on which messaging proved to yield the most RSVPs. This also shows popular event time. So if you host one at 6, one at 6:30, we'll have some data on that. And then most popular event days as well. So this is just interesting to see too. It seems like people are more responsive on Thursdays. So just interesting information for you to be able to take a look at and reference when you host your next campaign, so that way you can feel confident in where you're hosting. And then we capture other information like male versus female, sometimes ethnicity, income. So this all goes back to that financial data that I showed you. So not every record is in here and considered, but interesting things just to take a look at. Okay. Lastly, I wanted to just show you exports and integrations. If you guys have your own CRM that you use, we do have integrations established already. So we can pump these leads directly to you if you prefer to do that. Or you can export spreadsheets and you can put them right in your own CRM. So I'm just going to open this up. And this spreadsheet will show all the data that we have on these prospects. So for all their campaigns, whatever date range you choose. But you can see information like their first name, last name, phone number, email address, the event that they attended or RSVP'd for, the status of their event reserved, the reminder status, how they reserved too, really interesting. That's always interesting to see. Call center usually beats it out every time, but on our invitations, we have the 800 number where they can call and do their reservation with a live person. By the way, stateside, I don't know if I mentioned that with Medicare, all of our Medicare campaigns, the reservation service is here in America, or they can reserve online at rsvp.org/that campaign number. So most people are calling in. Let's see.
I know my people are picky about whether or not they're talking to somebody based in the States or
It seems to be a bone of
abroad.
contention for a lot of folks.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yes, that's why we were like, let's just remove that like conversation and that risk or potential risk of, conflict or whatever entirely. And so we moved it all to America. Do you have any questions about this data or Hub or anything?
I think it's all pretty straightforward. I think one of the questions I have is that I know we spoke about receiving people at the event and using Hub to you know um, basically check them in.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're doing that, that's pretty much as easy as dispositioning them almost like you showed before.
Yeah. Exactly, that's right. And so I don't know if I mentioned this before, but having an extra set of hands, a coworker, an assistant at the event with you so they can kind of check people in during the event, that would be very beneficial. So I'll show you how to do
Yeah.
that. So as you're checking them in, like say someone's greeting them at the door, hi, what's your name? Okay, perfect. I see you right here. I got you checked in. You can mark that right in Hub as checked in. And so this will be helpful too for after the event when you're doing follow up calls or follow up touches or thank yous. You can see who actually attended and it's not a guessing game.
And yeah, sorry you missed the event. I hope you're okay. I was
Yeah,
worried sick about you.
We're having another one on next Thursday.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
exactly. Yep. You got it.
Well, Madison, are you excited?
I am. I am loving all this extra data that you guys provide on all of these people. It's like you're getting to know them a little bit
Mhm.
before you actually put the face to the name, which is really helpful as someone who is really terrible at small talk.
You're pretty
Yeah.
good at small talk.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
So next steps are going to be we'll reach out to the venue.
Mhm.
We'll select some dates and times that are in line with the recommendations. And then we'll go ahead and get back with you, Miranda, to go ahead and get that locked in.
Perfect.
And then we'll go from there, yeah?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm really excited. I appreciate the opportunity to kind of take you guys through the process slowly and, answer some questions and really like dive in. This has been awesome.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for doing all that, Miranda, and sticking with us through our technical difficulties as we
Of course.
still muddle through the podcast process here. But definitely looking forward to seeing you at Medicarians this year.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
And I'll be sure to talk you up to all. I'm sure there'll be some
Yes.
like you guys, Miranda, you guys got to get
Yeah, you can work the booth with me.
Come right up. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we can go ahead and call it there. Miranda, thanks for joining us today, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Okay, thank you both. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye,
Thank
Miranda.
you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I bumbled through this morning, but we got to the end of it here. So I'm excited for you to do this.
I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a learning experience. I think it's going to be, I'm just excited. This is something completely new that we've never done before. So,
well, that does it for this episode. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
That's the podcast.
I was really hoping we would get the applause.
Oh, yeah. All right. Actually, that kind of overlays pretty well. I like that.